there a button we're supposed to hit?
And there we go. And it's live. Welcome. Greetings.
Hey, yes, absolutely. Brian, I think, are you a little out of focus?
I am a little feeling a little blurry tonight, Phil. I hope not. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do.
Oh, I'm looking at a thumbnail.
I worry that sometimes my visage is just too powerful, onto the audience and to you. So I try to, take it out of focus, blur it down, bring down the power and the energy.
Take the edge off a little.
Yes.
lest we all go blinded by the. No, that's very kind of you. I'm worried that there's something on my screen.
No, that's me that you're seeing. That's actually.
My God, why are you so small? Why am I so small?
Hey,
I'm like this big.
Whoa. Welcome. Oh my gosh, I am so blurry. Well, I'm gonna have to see what I can do about that. That's crazy.
Are you set up? Is your
ladies?
I don't know if it's the camera or if it's the feed.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be.
I look great. I don't want to say I'm looking just.
Yeah, that's weird.
That is weird. Maybe it'll. I mean, do you have some kind of thing in your settings on what you can? It almost like. Oh, see, like I'm in standard. I should be in high def. There. Okay. See, maybe I should take mine down to look consistent.
Yeah. Well, as exciting as an intro as this is, I am the blurry man, Brian. You know me from the channel. Good. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Phil, Magic Phil Mosnes, for joining us.
Absolutely. I wouldn't miss it for much. Now, I just switched over to just trying it out, a lower resolution, but it seems to have thinned me out. So I might just keep it like this. Because all that, if the camera adds 10 pounds, then this might be offsetting that to make me look as svelte as I normally do.
Clearly, that's what's going on here. What is going on with my... Oh, that fuzzy. It's so weird.
It is odd, but I don't know. Do you don't want to try logging out, logging back in again? I mean, we could lose.
No, that would end up like killing the stream. I believe the only way I do that is
we could lose all our viewers. Is the problem?
Yeah, so that would be a terrible. I'm just gonna make us small again, and that way I'll be less noticeably blurry.
Phil,
I'm
gonna go to 7. There we go.
Tonight we are going to discuss episode 7.
And I did, by the way, it did. I don't know if you had bullet points, but I did write down the plot to some degree, or at least a synopsis as it was going.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to start with that, or should we start with a toast?
Yes, I have the LaCroix, and you've got the La Beer.
Yeah, this is I don't think they're sponsoring us, but if Sierra Nevada would like to, I would think that we could talk. Not making any promises, but we can talk.
We could talk.
So to having a great time on live streams.
Here's to it. Sure. Cheers. And thank you again for joining us, either live or after the fact, whoever you are.
Yeah, and to anybody that's wondering, a quick bio. Brian is a tremendous writer, story editor, and all-around story guru and commentator. Who's
that sounds accurate enough. I'll take that.
And I'm just a hanger-on. Now
you are an independent filmmaker, storyboard artist, cinematographer.
I do throw a puppeteer in there occasionally, just because I do. I don't want to forget the puppetry.
Well, you even got a puppet channel, don't you?
Yeah, Go Puppets Go is a channel. The link will be in the chat.
There you go. I don't even talk, my friend.
I've seen so many of these, it almost flows out. Be sure and hit subscribe and for notifications.
Here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to semi-professional YouTubing right here.
I think having a little bit of a raw quality is part of what brings the charm.
Yes.
To what we do. I'm just gonna. Here we go. I'm gonna copy and paste this into the chat for all people to.
Yes, everybody
enjoy.
There it is. It's waiting for you.
join the dozen or so other subscribers.
No,
for our wonders.
I was setting us up here. I'm still editing my Romulus video. It looks like it's going to be around a half hour. It's about 27 minutes.
That's a
Originally,
good
it was
amount of
9,
time.
so it's
No. I think a feature film like that deserves a little more than. Of course, you may have your little shorts that are cut out of that would go up.
I plan on having plenty.
Yeah, because those will
gonna milk that cow for all it's worth.
Those bring all the boys to the yard. I hear those. Those quick.
I had this little bit here. It was freeze framed on that. It was just on my desk all this time when I was setting up, and I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty funny." So
it's funny. So tonight's episode 7 out of
8.
Oh my God, really? See, that worries me. And I think I was starting to have this fear last episode, which was this thing ain't gonna end. This is just gonna be a season finale cliffhanger thing. And they're gonna go they would hope that they go right into season 2.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely what they're and I no reason to believe they won't.
No. I have
do
no idea what the ratings are on. I mean, we don't know.
I don't either. We are not one of the professional live podcasters that are like, oh yeah, and here's the shares, and it's been doing that. And that last episode got a bump.
Got a bump it right around this part right here. It got a spike in viewership, and then it dropped down. We don't know any of that. I don't know the stats, but I don't even know if they release that kind of stuff. Certainly not to the general public.
True.
And I don't know if you have to have some press credentials or whatnot in order to be privy to that info.
Yeah, I wonder if like Box Office Mojo would have something on that.
Yeah, viewership. I bet they keep that under wraps in general because they don't. I don't see unless they want to advertise it themselves through saying this is our number one show this week, which who knows if they're even being truthful about any of that anyway. But
they always figure out a way to carve. I remember being at Disney and just like at the end of every week, like every Friday, there'd be some press thing that was posted, and it was they'd always figured out how to carve the numbers in the demo in such a way that they could say number one,
much like
fastest.
Congressional districts, they have a way of carving out jerry rigging, entering the because they would certainly do it through demographics. It was number one for special needs kids between 7 and 7.5,
right?
Who were most likely, or possibly in a coma, and they happen to leave the TV on in this hospital room
on the East Coast. Below the
right. So in that way. Yes, I imagine that Netflix and Hulu and all the rest, they don't. It's not in their best interest to release raw numbers, probably.
No, certainly not. Certainly not.
And so I don't.
But
blame
they do tend to just barrel forward with shows, even though they don't have a lot of viewership.
Why do you suppose that is?
I think part of it is just to have the content. It's sort of like what we're doing here. We're pretending that there's an interest in an audience.
Well, we can't.
Then I can promote it like, hey, yeah, and we're doing lives. We got all this stuff going on.
And by the way, I don't think you should release the raw numbers on this unless the other podcasters get jealous and get you in the crosshairs. And then it's like, well, we got to do something about everything's mid, man. They're encroaching.
They're crushing it. Well, as soon as the raw numbers reach a digit, I'll be sure to keep
any digit
at all. I'll be sure to keep that under wraps, man.
Well, shall we jump into episode 7 of 8?
We got one. Somebody showed up and then they left. I mean, that's what I love is people will do that. They'll just pop in and I'll go, oh, I'm going to go over to the overlay and hit the welcome. And then before I can even find the button, they're gone.
They're gone. Well, maybe you should start doing it randomly just in case they're distracted long enough by the wave that they might.
Maybe. But so you were going to say, because it sounded like you were going to actually talk about the episode. Now that
I don't really want to. We could talk about other things. How is your day?
Here's the good part of the compliments or the critical sandwich.
The compliment sandwich. Yes,
I liked that a lot of things happened in this episode. They don't usually have a lot of things happening.
Okay, they continue with the threads. We have an ABC story kind of going on.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be confused with an ABC story, which that network. I don't even know if it exists anymore, but
Not if
we
your name's
have
Kimmel, but
I just read that.
yeah,
No comment.
no
I got
comment.
no
Moving
comment.
moving right along. So
And this one, I don't remember exactly how it started, but by the time I started writing notes, Smee discovers Slightly has Arthur under his bed. Now
yes,
there's a scene uh, where Slightly is attempting to get a straw between
yes,
into the mouth of Arthur while
uh-huh.
a face hugger is hugging his face. And it was I'm not sure exactly what I was supposed to glean from that. If it was supposed to be, I guess it was reinforcing the the fact that this is a child and this might be his what a child might think to do. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe he's thirsty. It kind of
Yeah, I
plays a
don't want
little
him to hurt.
goofy.
Didn't mean to hurt him, so let me try to make him comfortable.
Sure, maybe it's a sense of guilt, which I'm okay with that conceptually, but it also comes off as a little bit on the funny side, rather than.
Clearly going for some comedy, I would say.
Yeah, and as a child, I probably wouldn't have gotten that close to a face hugger on uh, hugging a face, any face.
No.
Then, so Smee, they have their back and forth, and Slightly kind of confides what's going on and
Hey,
gains
chat.
the
Thanks for
assistant.
coming.
Uh, oh, great! Is he
And the
gone already?
yeah, he's gone already.
These are those. Aren't there particles that, like, as soon as you see them, they vanish? Like,
Yeah.
they can't. These subatomic things, or if you.
Yeah, it's just like a subatomic particle. What you can't be observed and also be
Can't be measured and observed at the same
at
time.
the same time. It's the same as our viewers here at the Everything is Mid live stream. Yes, it turns a little bit into Weekend at Slightly's,
It's
as Slightly is.
now again, the funny version of this would be them trying to prop him up and put a big smiley face on him and googly eyes
Yeah,
over the
yeah, like
face
a
hugger
hat,
and make him think that he's just drunk and
They
that
can
they
have
got
like
him.
a Rasta wig, and then they try to like get the cornrows to sort of cover him a little bit there.
And you know what would happen is, like, all the people they run across, they're not mad that there's a face hugger clearly on the guy's face. They're more mad at the cultural appropriation of putting putting dreadlocks on him. So they confide. So, and then then the group, and by the group I mean the powers that be within this complex, discover Toodle's body. And there's some discussion with Kirsch and Boyd Cavalier and whatnot, and a few other people that
Yeah.
that we've lost the beloved Toodles
Yeah.
from the previous episodes issues. Then we're on to the what I think is maybe the more important thread, because it's our lead. That would be Wendy, the brother, and Nibs decide they're going to get out.
Right.
Are you messing with your camera?
I am. Can you hear me?
You're fine.
Okay, yeah, you keep going.
Uh, and Curly decides to stay, but there is a moment there which I kind of enjoyed, where it seemed like we're putting aside some of our differences for the moment in this intense situation, and Curly promises not to snitch on them leaving. So then we move on to on the way out, though, Wendy, in her infinite wisdom as a late, like, I don't know, adolescent mind dealing with. Oh, now seeing that you look quite a bit better. What did you do? Oh, now I've lost your audio. There you go.
There we go.
It'd be hilarious if your audio got blurry.
Well, yeah, I accidentally hit a button on the mic now. It's all coming apart.
Well, whatever you did, the change is welcome.
Yes,
now
there you
it
go,
feels
folks.
like
Just unplug it and plug it back in. Whatever it is, that'll work. If it's grandma that on the ventilator, she's not breathing, just unplug it and plug it back in.
if the power's down over at the nuclear site.
Give it the
I think
old
a
hard
quick.
reboot.
I think that's they called that the Homer. Um, so yeah, Wendy decides to unleash um, the xenomorph on her way out.
And that's the one thing I missed.
Oh,
like
okay.
I saw her in there, and
Yeah,
I think I looked away, or I pressed the jump ahead 10-second button because I was starting late and trying to catch up.
sure.
Um, but so did she do it sort of like on the sly, like push a button and then leave?
If I remember correctly, she did it remotely through one of the screens. She does seem to have
Oh,
this way of
yes, I did see
interfacing.
that. She does that thing where she can get into stuff.
Yes, and boy, security pretty lax in this complex. If somebody, even a smart person, but still an adolescent mind, can jump, it can just go up to a screen, and they did sort of telegraph that this is not
Yeah, they
completely new.
set this up about her, but
Sure, sure, but it does seem like they would think it was a security risk to let that ability around when you've got a dangerous aliens in cages that she can easily unleash
well,
if she ever throws a tantrum.
it seems like they should have known that just as a security measure,
Yeah,
they should just always run an Ice Age movie over the network. So, if she went in there
distract
to
them. Yes,
unleash the alien, she would have been distracted by the Ice Age movie.
and whatever that. I don't even know what they call that stupid squirrel thing that runs around those whole movies. I
Is it
looking.
Scrat? We looked this up. I think
Scrat's fine.
Scrat.
I'll go with
Okay.
Scrat. Scrat's okay with me. If that it's not his name, it should be because it's pretty effective. Now it rampages in the lab, and now at this point, for the first time in many episodes, we saw other random workers in this lab
I
that
thought
could,
that was interesting as well.
yes, conveniently and just in time to be slaughtered by a rampaging alien. Uh, so they were basically the red shirts, as you might call them, that
Yeah.
may or may not have ever been seen before.
No, yeah,
And
it's like they're like the invisible red shirts. I mean, at least the red shirts were around, and then you'd get rid of them.
yes,
This woman was not around. These people were not around, and then suddenly they're just for the kill.
now somebody could correct me at some point and say, "Oh no, there were some early scenes where we saw that same character doing the same thing, probably with a clipboard, and
Just gonna say,
clipboarding their way through, trying to get that big promotion to get. I don't.
excuse me, I'm sciencing.
Yes, I'm double checking these stats.
Yes,
I don't
like
know.
we science people do.
Um, and so it very quickly dispatches all the people in the lab. Now, that does not gain sympathy for our lead
Mm-mm.
at all. In fact, on the whole, I think this episode has left me less sympathetic to our lead because her now you could argue this as a child, and they're not thinking that far ahead. They're selfish. I don't know, ego,
What's
id,
the
whatever.
writer's excuse?
Where is that? Yeah,
He's
where's
not
that
thinking
person?
ahead either, or she.
She may. Who knows? I, I don't. I I don't want to. A part of me just wants to come up with at least a plausible explanation for why a character might have a motivation. But what I'm doing is grappling with whether or not I care about this character at this point.
Mhm.
When she's willing, oh, these two people she cares about, so she wants to get them off the island. Uh, well, actually, the three other people that seem to work on the island, she doesn't care about, and she's happy to let them die. Do you think that scientist who was there just doing clipboarding stuff, if you confronted Wendy and said, "Look, I'm glad you love your brother, but somebody out there loved their sister too, and now she's dead because you unleashed this alien. Because you all of a sudden to get off the island, everybody else has to be worthy of."
Dispatched. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
now,
her response would be, well, maybe she should have thought about that before she started all her sciencey clipboarding.
yeah. What was she even doing in there in the first place? She could have
Mhm.
been doing anything else. Yeah, it's a tough one, but a different kind of a show would have addressed that. Different, and I feel like
Like a
they
good show?
a competent show. No, yeah, I mean maybe a better show. they dip their toe in it to a certain degree when the brother does seem to question her doing what she does at
Yeah.
certain points in the show. But that one, I don't know if that one even can. Did that one did come up at some point, like you let it out kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't about the morality of it killing the random innocent folk that happened to work with their
Yeah.
clipboards. anyway, anyway. Another interesting. In this one, it's almost. I'm not sure if it's an A and B plot. It's more like an A and a second A, which is the slightly Smee carrying Arthur's body out to the meeting point, and then I did find it interesting that they let Arthur wake up and not know anything, much like again, kind of paralleling John Hurt's character in the original film, waking up and only having kind of a vague nightmare of what happened to him.
Yeah, and that was a nice little twist when they turn around, the body's gone. Because I was thinking, wait, so who took it? And then he comes walking up, I'm like, wait, oh, right, okay.
Now that all happened way too fast. In fact, everything about that concept happened way too fast, and he bounced back way too fast.
Oh yeah,
and we have to assume that they turned their back for 10 seconds. The thing popped up. He woke up and rolled away, and then got up and went like, "What am I doing in the woods?"
Yeah.
And somehow that all happened while their backs were turned. It's silly. I guess it's silly. I think I might have this is armchair quarterbacking or after the fact.
That is why we're here.
I guess that's the point. I don't need to qualify this. I think I would have preferred if the thing had fallen off his face while they were trying to move it and died, and then they're like, "What? Oh, what the hell has happened?" And then they don't know, while they're not knowing what to do. Maybe he starts to get groggy and starts to come out of it, and then they're having to talk to, like, "What are we supposed to do now? He's waking up. Instead of his." He has the energy somehow to roll away from where he was and bounce up like he just woke up from, a nap.
Yeah, or you could have had a the face hugger leaves.
Yeah,
and then they notice, they're like, oh my god, so they're freaked out, like,
oh
no, they're freaked out, wondering where it is. You get some, but the other way I was thinking of doing it is they run it, they've got him, the face hugger's on him. He falls over, they're trying to drag, and then somebody's like, hey, and they look up and like, oh my gosh, and it's the guards or whatever, and they're like, what's wrong with him? And they're like, oh, and they turn and the face hugger's gone.
That's fun. Yeah, I like that.
So these people don't even know about the face hugger, and we're all sitting there going like, where's the face hugger?
Yes. And I might even add to that, maybe it's a scene where we see them from the back, and then by the time they've turned around to face the camera, the facehugger is gone, and they didn't notice it fall off, and we as the audience don't know until everybody's turned around. Again, it's a Weekend at Bernie's style.
Totally. And then they're like, oh, this guy, he got, and then you could do all that excuse stuff that they did do in this.
Oh, you know what you could do is, like, one character, this is where it gets really absurd. One character starts to explain the face hugger, and then the other character notices it's not on anymore, and he's like trying to tap him. It's like, you don't have to explain the face hugger because there's no face hugger here, and you just play that out for as long as you can get 7 minutes out of that gag.
Well, certainly on a Disney Plus show or on a that is the thing, is that these shows, they're so just packed with fat. It's rather than starting the scene when stuff's going on, let's have people walk into the room, and let's have,
or are you noticing
looking around as they're talking and pause, and am I noticing
a little padding then?
Yes, I feel like perhaps there's a little bit of padding in these.
I guess I don't know that I've noticed that as much, so that's kind of interesting. You're picking up on the padding more than I am. There's an old screenwriting trope, which is like, enter a scene as late as you can and get out of it as quickly as you can, or as early as you can, so that you're not spending a lot of time with a character walking into the room, sitting down, doing nothing before the phone rings, and then having him get up and walk across the room to pick up the phone. Hello?
Having them fix their camera on their webcam and trying to Oh,
So
myself.
No, before he wakes up, though, I do want to say, where did they find that raft that they were? I guess that was that was later.
Yeah, that was later, but
That was
still, it's
later.
like they
I'm sorry.
fashioned a raft.
I jumped ahead like 3 scenes. Let's put a pin in that for just a second.
Sure.
Kirsch tells Slightly and Snee how to get Arthur out. That was kind of an interesting scene because, again, and it's back a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Kirsch is an interesting character because we often don't know his motivations from moment to moment.
No.
And in that,
especially when he's sciencing,
you're like, well, what is he looking for? But when he catches Smee and Slightly with Arthur and a face hugger on his face during some chaotic stuff, and they try to explain, this is sort of a comedic moment. We would just know, we don't know. It's like, no, why are you going out that way? Go out that way. And so he's letting them go. He's basically letting them go. And you're like, well, what's his game? And I guess we sort of know by the end of this episode, but I don't know how well that works, and we'll get to that.
Okay. But I did like that scene because it did further along, because in the last episode there was the moment when we realize he knows the stuff's going on and he's not telling Boy Cavalier, so we're trying to figure out what's his
what's his angle.
What's his angle?
Yeah. So
and I thought that was nice.
I did, and I liked the scene where Arthur waking up was unexpected. All right, I didn't expect Arthur to wake up, and him trying to be a big brother to these kids and talking about, he knows that they're lying. The problem with lying is once you've told one lie, you gotta keep covering that lie with more lies. Why don't we just go back and we'll figure it out? And you're starting to kind of feel so bad. I mean, they're really ratcheting it at that point because you have so much sympathy for Arthur as a character who doesn't deserve any of this.
Yeah.
You do understand Slightly's motivations. They keep reemphasizing why he's doing that. You do sympathize even with Smee, who believed that he was not going to be hurt ultimately. Like this was just a thing that they were like, it's part of the process and he's going to be fine eventually. So when we finally get a moment where it's like, it wasn't completely unexpected, but they did, it was in a moment that I felt like that was well crafted to have the build to,
it's like they did a little writing there.
Yes, they did.
They did a little, which is always refreshing to see in this show.
For sure. So chest burst, and then off goes a little into the woods, and then I thought, because
now hang on,
we cut away about that.
I'm going to pause you just for a second there. Yes. I did feel that the maturation cycle was pretty quick.
A little quick.
I was thinking that they had a few episodes down the line. I thought he was going to get implanted in the previous episode, like early on.
Yeah.
And you could get a whole episode going on with this thing on his face. I mean,
for sure.
And then once it gets off of his face, you'd think that I just didn't think it would be that fast. I thought they'd get a little more time out of it.
I'm going to take this call because I think we might have another viewer. Hey, Paul.
Ooh.
Hey, Paul, do you want to get online and join us? Join, or at least enjoy watching Brian Swanlin and I on the Everything Is Mid. We are currently live, by the way. So hop on your computer. And thanks for calling me back, by the way.
This is how it works, folks. You can get an engraved invitation. All you have to do is just call during the thing there.
We should do a call-in thing, we should set this up like it's a one of those telethons like the Jerry Lewis used to do. Sure. And then we'll go to callers every now and again who are donating. So I am live with Brian Swanlin, and we are on the Everything Is Mid live stream. And if you type in mid, MID, and if you type that in on your computer machine,
this is a countdown till Paul arrives.
Yes, YouTube. Yep. And go onto the live stream and put some words into the chat, and we'll know that you're there.
There you go.
Otherwise,
and
I'll have to.
all of this all of this is instructional for the rest of you fine folks. Just jump into that little chat box there and let us know what you think about Alien Earth Episode 7 Emergence.
Well,
let us know what you think of what we think of Episode Emergence.
That's it.
7 Emergence.
Hit that button. Hit that button, Paul, and join us and write into the chat and say
there's
that
somebody
you're with
already
us.
in the chat, unless that's Paul. And it's
I'm hearing myself through his phone. Me on. Oh, this is crazy. Okay, well, I better hang up and
it's happening. It's happening. All right. Well, if you can hear yourself, then that means Paul is watching. Hi, okay, Paul.
Yes, Paul's
welcome.
Watching.
Welcome to the chat.
Sounds great. I will talk to you later.
I appreciate the fact that Phil has wrangled you into this. You should not feel obligated to stay any longer than you want to.
No, I think Paul, if Paul, he's an officer and a gentleman,
mm-hmm.
and he's a hail fellow, well met, he will stick around. Like, oh, he's gone.
He's gone. Well, that happens.
No, I'm sure he's. But
well, this is for Paul and for everybody else who has showed up. Welcome. And as per your earlier advice, Phil,
yes,
these people, they should like and subscribe. I think that would be the right choice. Okay, so back to the episode. We've got
doesn't really matter. No, I don't know. Pulling in a guy from the phone onto the show might be more interesting than whatever it is I'm about to say about the next scene in this. And by the way, Paul, if you are watching, this is going to be filled with spoilers on Alien Earth. If you're watching the Alien Earth and you don't want to hear anything about the episode, then I'm sorry. Maybe you should leave anyway. But I think you should stick around, because who cares if we spoil Alien Earth?
Yeah, I don't, and I would recommend not watching Alien Earth, but I would recommend watching our coverage of Alien Earth.
It's at least as entertaining, some would say. At least two people would say.
Yeah.
So then we have a scene where the alien escapes, and then Curly goes to see Dame Sylvia.
Yes.
Kind of curls up. It was a nice moment, because we got a little bit with Curly that we hadn't seen in a few episodes. They started down a road of her having a motivation to be the number one kid, the one in Boy Cavalier's graces, and that she was bringing a lot more to the table than Wendy. And they kind of set up that rivalry, and that rivalry didn't really go anywhere. But
no, they did set all that up, and then they did nothing. They did not run with it, nor did they
not
pay
deliver.
It off.
No, did not pay it off. Maybe they were just subverting expectations, as they like to say, when they don't follow through with something that's been set up.
We viewers were expecting them to actually play out the thread that they were developing, and then they subverted that expectation.
Yes, they did.
Writing.
Sure. Exactly. So we did have an interesting tender moment between Curly and Dame Sylvia that, again, didn't amount to a whole lot, other than, again, reinforcing that she's a mother figure to the children.
Yeah, it's weird, because they did set up this character that she was going to be the competitive one.
Yes,
she was going to be, the sort of the nemesis amongst the synths here, and then they dropped her. She was not in the last episode, I believe, at all.
Didn't see her. I don't recall seeing her.
And then then they pulled her out of the hat in this episode, and it's like, oh right, yeah. So what's going on with her? And she's just basically sitting in a room, and they're like, oh, don't tell that we're leaving. Don't tell anybody. You got to promise. And I'm thinking, well, she's not going to promise that. She's competitive. She's out to get Wendy so she can be on top. And instead, it was like they had a new writer who came in, who didn't watch any of the episodes and was not given any notes on the direction of what to do. They had no idea who that character was, and so they just played her as sort of a scared kid who doesn't know what to do. They're asking me to promise, and then we get this scene where she's curling up with Mother, essentially.
Yeah, no, it's not consistent with what they'd set up with her.
No.
However, just as a moment, I kind of enjoyed.
Yes,
but I feel like the show has a lot of those as a moment kind of moments.
Yeah,
where in any given moment, I might like the way that some interaction's happening, or that there's some little thing, a little the Smee and slightly exchanges are usually entertaining for me and on some level.
Sure.
But it takes a little more than that for me to like the overall show, certainly the overall episode and whatnot. Because that was a moment, and then we don't return to that at any point. I assumed that she was going to confide in her mom that the others were leaving, and that maybe she wasn't feeling good about that, or that she didn't know what to do about that, or that say she has a secret, but then the mother can't really get it out of her. That there'd be some conflict, and I imagine there was supposed to be conflict in Curly in that moment, like not knowing what to do. But you wonder if they could have handed that to any other character who, like, if it had been
already have a motivation and characterization developed in a different direction.
Yeah, like for instance, we have seen in several. It's been a point made that the Nibs character had an interesting and unusual relationship with the mother, the Dame Sylvia.
Wait, Nibs, isn't that who we're talking about?
No, Curly. Curly's the one.
Curly, right? Okay. Oh yeah, Nibs. Nibs is the redhead.
Right. So you'd almost expect that moment would have had more gravitas if the Nibs character went to see Mother, and after having attacked her, and then the whole memory erase thing, maybe went back, and there'd be some tension about, like, how does she relate to her, that her memory is gone, but maybe not that gone, and she wants to curl up, and like there's like, what is this about? But they handed that concept of a sequence to the Curly character, we've never seen her really interact with Dame Sylvia at all, I guess, until this point.
Yeah.
So glean what you want from that. Maybe it was an interesting moment that they gave to the wrong character.
Hey, welcome, chat. Oh, now they're both gone. We even lost Paul. All right, well, it was good while lasted.
Oh, even Paul's gone. Let me call that guy back.
Oh, here we go. Breaking news, Phil. Paul is gone.
What the F?
Oh wait, no, now he's back. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Wait, let's. I'll go over to the chat. Oh no, nobody said anything.
Nobody said anything. Right.
All right. You should say something, chat. If you're here watching the episode, you should at least hop on that little chat window and say hi
and say hello. Just give us some encouragement. We're not Jerry Lewis asking to save the kids from muscular dystrophy.
We're not looking for a credit card number. We're just
I mean, if you want to give us the last 4 of your mother's maiden name or what, I'm not saying you should. So they okay, so chest burst, Arthur dies, alien escapes, Curly goes to see Sylvia, Smee and Slightly somehow build a raft out of bamboo. I don't. It would take me a day and a half to put that raft together, and it wouldn't have even worked.
Yeah, but they're synths. They move fast and they're strong.
We didn't see it. I don't know. We haven't seen him do any of this stuff yet.
It's so terrible.
I mean, I know it's hard to go back and recontextual. You get to this point in the series, and maybe they're wishing that they had a scene early on where it showed them making something fast.
Yeah. Like maybe in episode 2 when nothing else was going on.
When nothing else, like when we can see what their abilities are. And so raft building and or making things out of available materials might have been a skill set that Smee or Slightly might have had. And I guess we assume that they do have it, but this is an assumption that the show is relying on me to fill in that blank.
Yeah.
But either way, somehow they put together a raft. And it almost doesn't matter because it doesn't amount to much, because Morrow shows up,
right,
with his band of brothers, and they have the conversation that you think's going to happen at this point. It's like, what am I supposed to do with that? It's a dead body. But I question Morrow. Why didn't you know that the timing on this was going to be, the window of opportunity here was going to be a little shorter, and they should have had they're relying a lot on this, basically a child, to get a body to them to the beach within a very short window that I assume that they know about, that they know that a face hugger jumps on a face and then out pops an alien in 24 hours or
There's a
maybe
lot
they
of
know
moving parts to this plan
it's
for
a lot of yeah, it's a lot of it doesn't make Morrow seem any brighter for having been at the beach. And I guess did they show up, were they late? Were they hours and hours late? I don't know.
right, because theoretically he should know what the
The
life cycle
gestation.
is of this
Yes,
thing. I mean, since
for
he knows everything else. Well, he
for sure.
downloaded all that crap, so
He should know everything there is to
I
know
don't
about these
know.
aliens. So he seems very surprised that they brought a dead body and that it already happened. Um,
Yeah,
so
and then at this point, I was sending you texts with
I
just
didn't.
like what was going on in the show. So now I have my own notes, and I and all this is just plot notes, just like
Sure.
what happens. So the alien came out, surprised, and then the one girl went to Babadook, right? So we covered that.
Yes,
And then now Morrow's teams arrived. That's where we are.
they
Okay,
arrived.
then they go from that to Boy Cavalier
Yes,
talking to the sheep, and I
to the
just want to
sheep.
make sure we didn't miss that.
Oh yeah, no, that's right here. Boy
And
Cavalier talks to sheep.
and I
By the way, the guy's name is Adam. His sidekick is Atom, I think. Atom, as in a small, tiniest particle of matter that.
like, you mean the bald guy?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
okay.
that character's name is Adam. And yes, they're talking. They're observing the sheep eye, and they're able to communicate because the. Okay, I understand that in a universe of possible alien intelligence, there'd be some mathematical things that might be a common ground.
Mm-hmm.
Prime numbers comes to mind. They've done that one in other science fiction things.
Sure.
Okay, I get pi or whatever that's being what I don't get is why they would assume this thing understands English and
Right.
understands what these scribblings are, um, and
And I'm
unless they've
assuming that the third number past the decimal point in pi is 2. Is that correct?
3.14159 is what I thought it was.
Oh, okay. Because it pooped, and I thought that was a number 2, and everyone was
That would
excited.
have been funny. That would have been funny. No, let me just look up pi real quick.
Okay.
I've always personally, I'm curious what the last number in pi is. I'm just going to find that out real quick.
You just dive into that. Well, why don't we can also crowdsource this to all the math whiz experts here in the chat. Feel free to jump in and help us out with the first few digits of pi there.
3.14. What? Oh, should I wait for them? Oh, the 3 point. We might be waiting a while.
Yeah.
3.141592. So I don't think we got to that far down.
No, we got the first two. And I mean, on the one hand, I thought it was fun when the sheep was responding.
Yeah.
But I'm with you where it was like when he was showing it, I'm going, what? How this is so dumb. Like, how can the sheep know how he's talking? He doesn't know English. Like, just there's so many assumptions that go into him just holding up a piece of paper with numbers on it, and that the thing's going to go like, oh yeah, let me start doing pi for you.
That would assume that this this eyeball creature has encountered humanity before, understands our numeral system, and understands English well enough to know how to connect those dots.
Well, and also you think about, I mean, here on planet Earth, we have discovered pi, but if you went to man on the street interviews and said, what are the 3 digits past the 3.14?
Yeah.
So you're just assuming that every alien eyeball is
right. What if we got the alien eyeball that's more the artiste?
Yeah.
Understands secondary colors and split complementaries.
or maybe it's just one of them alien eyeballs that just sits around and watches streaming shows,
and then
streaming
maybe
shows on their streaming networks.
Watches streaming shows and maybe does a live stream podcast about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Those exist. Those eyeballs exist.
They could have got the podcaster, the live streaming eyeball.
But it's dumb. I'm sorry, but that's dumb. And frankly, Boy Cavalier, the genius. This is the problem with writing genius characters. You have to be pretty smart to write a genius character. I mean, you're basically limited to your own genius to that at that point, unless you're channeling. Maybe channeling. I should try channeling. Maybe I can channel a better writer.
maybe that's the way to go.
I won't believe it until I start writing in a foreign language that even I don't understand, and then I have to take it to somebody and be like, "Hey, is this any good?" And they're like, "No, you're channeling a moron who happens to think they're right."
You got a wish.
So, Boy Cavalier and Adam.
Yeah, so that was
whatever.
Interesting but dumb.
Exactly. A lot of this show, it's like, oh, okay, kind of interesting, but then ultimately, it falls back into it. Yeah, but that's dumber than it's smart.
I'm going to go back to
There's
my
a smart
metaphor
that
that this is sandbox writing,
okay.
where you've got a sandbox, which is Alien Earth, Aliens on Earth. Okay, that the sandbox, that's the franchise, and your pitch, four walls, your pitch for it or whatever. And then there's all the different toys in it, which are the different elements of that genre and elements of the franchise. And rather than building a narrative, I'll have to come up with what the opposite of a sandbox is, metaphorically speaking. But they just kind of go in and then they pick up the toys and they play with these for a little bit and they go, and then they go over, oh, let me pick up these toys.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't seen this. Oh, we haven't played with this toy for a little bit. Let's do a little thing.
Yeah.
Yo, the last time we were playing with that toy, it was about to jump off of a cliff, but this time we're not going to do that. Last time we were playing with that toy, she was looking to be the number one synth, but now she's just like a little girl who wants to whatever.
She's
it's
reverting.
It's
grabbing
just
the next
random.
And at the end of the day, those toys are ruined.
Yes,
they got sand in them. You can never shake it all out.
You might get some fun play moments when you're doing that, but it doesn't connect into a bigger narrative that makes it impactful in any way.
No, it doesn't. It does make me wonder how they structured the process of this show. You assume that people go in with a pitch, and the pitch probably has, well, you and I, we both pitched. So like a lot of times they won't, you give them a pilot idea and you give them some ideas about where things could go, but you don't necessarily walk in with the entire thing finished, because it's a collaborative process and they may want to have some say in certain things.
Sure. But now, I get the feeling
this guy may have.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, this guy may have walked in and had a complete arc about how the kids were going to be on the thing, and then they're going to go and they're going to get the brother, and the brother's going to come back, and then they're going to escape, and then there's an alien, and that where this season's going to end is going to be on a cliffhanger. I'm guessing.
I get one feeling that he went into that in his pitch envelope he had blackmail photographs, and they said, "Great, green light, run."
This is. And like certain pictures are a guaranteed fast track.
Right.
It's pictures with
photo here. That's for my signing bonus. And
well, take your pick. I've got a dead girl or a live boy in these pictures. So which one's going to get this one going faster? So on that note, let's go. So Alien attacks the army.
Right. So now, we go from that to Morrow's team versus the synths. So now, and I didn't write this down, but when I say the synths, I'm talking about Wendy, who's now teamed up with her brother, who is not a synth.
Yes.
And
Wendy and Nibs.
Yes. And is there another one?
No, right now there's not.
Three. Okay.
Just the three of them, and
they show up at the graveyard.
They show up at the graveyard. They see their own graves. Interesting moment. Again, interesting in like it kind of reminds us that there are some occasionally some larger questions danced around in this show.
Yeah,
not completely explored. Although I've enjoyed when they've when they've started moving in that direction. I think that's when the show starts to take on its own identity.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a moment that could carry some gravitas. If it felt like it was a transition point for the characters where they realize that they can't go back, when they see that they're, the people they used to be, they're in an innocence lost moment.
Yes.
Where now they've been in these bodies and things are getting out, and they're kind of doing that, and things are getting out of control. And then but there's, I don't really feel like they didn't put a pin in it. It didn't feel like stuff was culminating to this revelatory moment. It felt like they were in the sandbox playing with these toys, and they went, "Oh wait, there's this thing. Oh yeah, the graves are here.
Oh yeah,
So
won't that be interesting if they see their own graves?" And then they move right on. And like, but here's another toy that we found on this side of the sandbox. Yeah, we do drop it pretty quickly in it. I don't know but the characters before that scene and after that scene. If we had lifted that scene out where they saw their graves, what do we miss? What would we have missed?
Exactly.
So what we do get instead, though, is some random army guys from the facility show up, hold them hostage, and she calls out to her new best friend, the Xenomorph, to come save them, and it does so at her request, because they've been speaking. When we talked about this in the last couple episodes, they've been communicating, but nobody's ever seems to question what they're communicating about, and nor does anybody question if they're developing a relationship that might be detrimental to the whatever their experiments that they are or aren't doing. Like, you're waiting for Boy Cavalier to look at Adam and say, "Look, she's talking with them. What the hell are they saying? I mean, is it a threat?"
I'm looking. Yeah, these are all excellent points, because you're pointing out these different pieces to the puzzle, none of which are developed, or none of which are tethered into a reality in the show. Again, God, I can't believe I'm gonna talk about Jurassic World.
Thank God. I was waiting for you to talk about Jurassic World.
Why can't you be more like Jurassic World? But at least in that,
yes,
they kind of tracked the relationship that Owen has with the Raptors and with Blue, and you get an understanding of the level of communication he has with them.
Yes,
you get a sense of what that is.
Yes,
how it's a little volatile, but there's a certain amount that he can bond with them.
He's made,
and then later on, there's a twist in a development when you find out, oh yes, the Endoraptor has raptor DNA in it, so now the Raptors look at that as an alpha. Yes. And early on, they established this concept of an alpha. So for all of its faults, it at least did that.
Yes,
and
it had
show does not do it at all.
Set up and payoff. Pretty basic stuff. And sometimes I wonder when I'm watching this show, if it had been a feature film, if some of those things would have been addressed, because a feature's got, let's say, 110 pages to set up and pay off a story. And if there was a feature version of this story, could it have been told, and would a lot of the problems that we discuss no longer be there, because they would have just jettisoned that whole side plot, that whole C and D and E story that's happening, and we'd find the main thread being Wendy, the brother, an alien, and escaping, and whatever the main thread is,
and
these
an emergence, Phil, an emergence.
So I don't. I'm not saying that this would have made a better feature, because I probably wouldn't have enjoyed that one anymore.
No, but you make an excellent point, and I think that there's plenty of material here that one could take and boil it down into a tight 2-hour movie, and succeed at something special.
Sure. And by the way, every time I think about, it didn't really occur to me until I saw this episode, even though it hasn't been a big surprise and it's no revelation, but this is still a prequel to the original Alien film. Right. That means as we're watching, and I've just watched again some scenes from the original Alien film, and it's hard for me to watch that and think, yeah, but a few years before this happened, there was already an alien on Earth.
Yeah.
There was one there, and maybe two, actually, because maybe 3. I don't know how many, but there were already aliens on Earth. So this film, like, it just doesn't. The connection is, they're severing their connection to me, for me, with how this thing falls into the chronology.
Now, if I may, that also reminds me that I stumbled on, while I'm working on my never-ending Alien Romulus.
Romulus, yeah,
But I was looking at some stuff from Alien 3, looking for a clip or two.
yes,
And I was watching the trailer for that, and in the trailer it says, and they use the same tagline in that they used for Alien Earth, which is, on Earth, everyone can hear you scream.
They use that for Alien 3.
Alien 3, and so I'm like, wait, so did that take place on Earth?
No.
So that's weird that tagline was there, but it was only in one trailer that I saw, or on one poster, or an advanced thing. So I think maybe they just ditched that at some point.
They must have, because and I've watched lots of stuff on Alien 3. I'm sort of fascinated by the production of that more than the movie itself, which is not my favorite Alien by a long shot.
No, but looking back on it now and seeing all the crap that we've had, certainly in the
does
past 6 episodes,
it recontextualizes the number, like, where things fall.
Mm-hmm.
And it may still be the third best of the films in a weird way, but it commits one of the greatest sins you can do in a sequel, which is kick the audience in the crotch really hard at the beginning, after going through Aliens, a great film, and them being able to get through all of that, come out. Sigourney Weaver has her new daughter. Michael Biehn survives, hurt, but lives. And
so they're kind of a family. You've got the father and the mother and the daughter now.
You got some nice closure on that concept. And what do? They just boot to, forget that crap.
Well, and truly, the Aliens is such a triumph of the human spirit as a story. It's a very uplifting, positive, inspiring, aspirational story.
Yes.
And as I'm still working on my Alien Romulus, I was doing some comparisons between Ripley and Rain and the stuff that they're doing, and I was really reminded of how how substantive, even though it's laced throughout this action movie, they've done a really nice job with that character. I mean, that's why Ripley stands out. That's why she is such an icon. She's the gold standard of not just heroines in the Alien franchise, because I mean, you don't, what else you got to pick from, but just in film and TV, she's a great character. Now, this is all off of what you were just saying, though, that with Alien 3, now that's why it was such a betrayal. I really could never get on board with Alien 3, because they started by undoing that triumph. But looking back on it objectively, I go, well, at least they were telling a specific story, and this set that world up for the kind of story they wanted to tell. So I give them credit for that.
I don't know if you've ever watched any of the making of on any of that, and some of the other ideas that were tossed around. The only one that I remember offhand was that at one point they weren't prisoners; they were going to be monks on a planet made of wood. So it was like a wooden, almost cathedral planet. And I still find that more interesting than the prison planet that they went with. But some of the choices survived through that process. Some of the concepts survived. It was still going to be like all men, monks, vow of chastity, celibacy, whatever. Although, when you're all men and monks.
Hey, chat, be sure to say hi. Yes, men and monks.
I mean, they went with prisoners instead, and but there was a sort of a religious aspect to the prisoners, led by I don't remember the actor's name, but it was it was a guy who was like their spiritual leader, who was reminding them that they were still.
He's the guy who went back. He was a prisoner, and then he went back when he was free and stayed.
Oh, did that happen?
Yeah. And I only know this because I've been watching these trailers and snippets and things.
I didn't recall that part, but
yeah. And did you also not recall that that's the guy from shoot? I want to say it's a guy from Game of Thrones.
This is the blog. Oh no, you're thinking of
Tyrion's father, the actor who plays Tyrion's father.
No, Nance, not Vance. Jack. No, God darn it! I would have known.
Dad, jump in here, help us out. You know who this guy is.
I first probably saw him in Last Action Hero. He was the he almost always plays villains, but he's quite good. And then in this, he's the doctor who is very sympathetic.
Right, that's correct. He's a doctor. He's not the priest or whatever.
He was a sympathetic character in this. A great cast, by the way. Pete Postlethwaite has a not a big role, but he went on to be in many films. A very iconic looking character who was maybe most well known for his role in The Usual Suspects as Kobayashi, the lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Now I can pull out Pete Postlethwaite's name, but I can't pull out. I want to say not Nance. Maybe it is. This is riveting podcasting. By the way, with me.
This is why people stay up.
Trying to remember.
They tune into us to help go to sleep.
Let me just plug in Alien 3.
I know. I'm over here trying to see it on IMDb, and I've apparently found an entry which just has nothing in it. Then this is like the second one, and there's two like. Oh goodness!
Charles Dance. I was so close.
Dance.
I was dancing around.
Charles Dance.
No, he's a wonderful performer, and he always brings
great.
Now he's one of those performers. He may have done other roles that were very perpendicular to what we mostly know him as.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard for me to imagine him not playing the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah,
who's playing. I say 3D chess, even though some people say 4D chess. But I think chess is a 2D game, even though we're playing with 3D pieces, but it's a 2D concept.
Yeah. So going to the third dimension, that's kind of a big deal.
Yes. And I think beyond that, I guess time. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the fourth dimension is in this case, but Charles Dance always good. And Charles Dutton is playing the character who was sort of something of a spiritual leader in that. And
okay.
And I find myself confusing him with with Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker?
Forrest, yes, thank you. That seems like they would be up for similar roles, but they're also kind of like bald guys in their age range. But the cast wasn't the problem with that movie. But they
talking about Alien 3.
Alien 3, yes. But pulling that on the audience right away, I could feel the audience just like, what? Mm-hmm. All right. I mean, I already paid my ticket. I'm not walking out, but man, you guys, you totally. We spent 2 hours saving Newt, only to have her killed off screen.
Yeah,
and through reasons that are very sus, as the kids would say. What, there's another egg somewhere that the queen laid.
Oh yeah, apparently.
Apparently the queen can like shoot those eggs out like a
like a ping pong ball,
like a t-shirt cannon at a game that needs some more spirit. But I digress. Anyway,
but now, as long as we're on the digression, you did go off onto Alien 3 because you were specifically talking about behind the scenes stuff, but I don't recall that we ever heard any behind the scenes production stuff.
I don't know.
Okay.
You mean on Alien 3?
Yeah. Well,
it was a nightmare. I mean, look, David Fincher is one of the best living directors currently. I mean, like I can't say objectively because it's all completely opinion and everything.
Yeah, but
But
the guy's got chops.
arguably, he's a top tier film director, and this is a film, his first feature, and he doesn't like to talk about it. He says he hates it more than anybody else does. So, like, there's no point in bringing it up to him and saying, I really hated Alien 3. He's like, well, probably not any more than I do.
Yeah.
Because he found it very difficult to work with the studio on this. And I don't know if he were given carte blanche at that point in his career, or if he would have, how different a concept he would have pulled off.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was against what happened, because we do know otherwise good directors that are quite happy to kill the past, or forget the past, kill it if you have to.
Right.
When they bring their sensibilities to a project, to a franchise.
They go full Kylo Ren.
They go full Kylo Ren, and I got real mixed feeling, but in totality, I might still like it more than Alien 4, which was made by another filmmaker that I really like,
Oh yeah,
French
the delicatessen guy.
Delicatessen, which I watched recently to kind of prepare myself for maybe looking at Alien 4 again and revisiting that. Because again, they have their sensibilities, whether they're in the audiovisual motif or in the storytelling motif, or whatever they're bringing to the table. You can look at Alien 4 and still see that the same guy that made City of Lost Children and Delicatessen, or the team that made those, it's there. And when I heard that they were doing it, I thought, oh, okay, this will be interesting, and I'll probably like it. It'll bring a kind of a European sensibility to it,
Yeah.
in the same way that Ridley Scott brought a British sensibility to the first one, and it will be an interesting take on this and it ends up being what it is.
Yeah.
Kind of strangely nightmarish. Like, I mean, they're all sort of scary, right? They're all kind of horror films on some level, but that one, my memories of it are more in the realm of grotesque than in actual fear or tension or ratcheting tension. It's more like, it's kind of, I don't like looking at that.
Alien 4.
Alien 4.
Just in case you just arrived.
But Alien 3 had a lot of that too. I think there was a style to it that was a very like brownish. Like the whole film is sort of keyed to super warm tones in the yellow brown range. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a legitimate way of approaching the art direction or whatnot. But it was kind of unrelenting in its artistic vision,
and its jaundiced approach to cinematography.
But a little tidbit. One of my, I guess, if you were to pin me down on my favorite cinematographer of all time, I'd probably say Jordan Cronenweth, just from his work on Blade Runner.
Oh, okay.
It's his style in his other films. You can see it, and he was the cinematographer for Alien 3 until health problems kept him from continuing. It was an ongoing thing. I believe he had Parkinson's. But he continued to work off and on, but you'd often find out that he worked and he did these scenes, but then his health wouldn't allow him to continue. So Jordan Cronenweth was on Alien 3 for a certain amount of time, and so some of his scenes, I think, are in the film, and that does have an almost automatic connection to Alien in a
Ridley Scott
connection way. But so it's not a direct, but it's sort of you can hop from this lily pad to this lily pad to make to connect those dots. Unfortunately, though, he was not able to continue. Same thing is true for him on, of all things, Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, no kidding.
Same
cinematographer.
Yes, but again, for certain scenes, and then he had to bow out.
Jeez.
So he's he's just a goddamn quitter is what I'm saying. That guy cannot finish a movie. So a little tidbit of trivia that I happen to be carrying around with me. And
Well,
sure
I'm going to ask if anybody in the chat, because I see there's somebody there at the moment. What do you think is your best or favorite Alien sequel that's not Aliens? So anything past Aliens, you know, what's
we're
the
just
best
taking the obvious answer off the table.
I mean, so that's 3, 4. That includes the Alien Predator movies. That includes Prometheus and Covenant
and Romulus
and all that stuff. We're thinking maybe 3 is the best of that bunch. Although I will say, as awful as Prometheus is, I still find it very watchable. I think it's the cinematography.
Great looking movie. You know, what are you gonna do?
It's just it's a really great looking movie. It looks very, very high defy.
Yeah, it probably looks great on a 4K transfer on a really big, nice home theater screen.
You see that ship and then the surface of the planet when they're outside. The one guy's walking along, they light him on fire or whatever. He's freaking out. Like just all of it just feels very.
The texture is
visceral.
real.
It's
tactile.
Tactile. Thank you. Yeah.
So now I don't. Again, that's a movie though that, as good as it is on a technical level, and they knocked it out of the park on all that stuff that we've come to expect in a way.
Right. I was going to say that doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but you still have to have that foundation of a good script, and
right. And that one does sort of kick us. Again, I'm into crouch kicking as an analogy.
Well, you have to be when you're talking about the Alien franchise.
It does a little bit of crotch kicking because not that it's not pulling an Alien 3 as far as like, okay, those characters you cared about so much saving in the last one are dead now, and it's happening before the credits are done.
Yeah, that was a steel tip boot to the crotch.
That was oh boy, you have to really be a glutton for punishment to the Prometheus does it by retconning to a certain degree and pulling the mystery out of the aliens and their origin and what the space jockey is, for instance.
You know what it is? It's the midichlorians of the Alien series.
Oh yes, the Force used to be magical, and now it's a kind of a thing. I think you can just inject yourself.
I think it just kind of comes down to that
transfusion.
It's just like iron.
I just I've got a Force deficiency, and I was told I could come here and get you could just squirt this stuff into my veins.
I just need some special Flintstone vitamins. The fortified with midichlorians.
So I do think that we are almost towards the end of this episode.
Yeah. Let's bring it back around to the actual Alien Earth series, if we can, for a moment. So yeah, she calls in the Xenomorph as her secret weapon. How did you feel about that? Aside from the communication stuff that we feel is underdeveloped.
Well, it's silly because how well do those things hear? And I guess they've sort of established that they can hear through glass pretty well, because it feels like her little clicky thing wouldn't get that far.
No, but maybe it's also working on a frequency that we humans can't hear. Wait, I'm writing the script in my head again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that could have been established that these frequencies. Boy, they're just under the threshold of the human hearing, but they travel they can travel hundreds of feet. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. And through other surfaces. So she does her little whistle. It's sort of like when some guy whistles and his horse shows up in a Western. You're like,
yes.
Is that horse is, I guess, just following and like hanging out just around the corner behind the saloon.
Yes.
Probably drunk again. Mm-hmm. But as soon as the whistle, out here comes the horse. Well, here comes her pet alien, who somehow knows to kill all these people, but not the people. Like the alien seems to know what's going on, why would the alien know what's going on?
Yeah, I'm skeptical that she has that level of sophisticated conversation and loyalty. Like, why is it loyal to her?
Why is it loyal to her? And why would she have any more affinity for the same type of creature that nearly killed her brother in one episode, and whose head she removed herself in the same episode.
Yeah.
So, but none of that stuff. Paul is here. Paul here.
Okay. Hi, Paul.
I kind of
Oh,
admire how
finally.
relentlessly. Well, I would agree. Relentlessly bleak is certainly, yes. And then after that, Romulus. I would probably agree with that because Romulus, and I can't wait once again to hear your 20-minute review on Romulus.
It's coming.
Now, is there going to be a Alien Remus by any chance?
I think that's what Alien Earth is. It's the alien that reamed us.
I was set up, and see, that's a setup and payoff.
Yeah, that works. I will say that, yeah, Paul, I've got a review I've been working on for Romulus. It's gonna be about a half hour. It's coming out. I think I'll drop it next Friday. I will say the positive thing I have to say about Romulus is that it's very it's in the one hand it's an amalgam of all these, like, they went in with good faith. Clearly the director is a fan of Aliens and the Alien franchise, and he tried to pull as much influence as he could, and it does deliver a lot of moments and alien type things in a modern way. So there's, like, it feels like an alien story that's hey, fun, actiony, and the stuff's going on, and so I think it does succeed in that level. But I find that the characters are all, like, it's all very surface. It all just works on that plot level of doing stuff. But the characters are so not just thin, it's that they made characters, they didn't even realize what these characters do with each other. It's like, no, wait. If you're going to have this character and this character, this dynamic suddenly happens. And, like, you're not addressing that, but that is now part of your story.
Right. Yeah,
but,
no, I will probably revisit it. Although after your review, I may not feel like I need to. So. But
maybe not.
when I did see it, I did find that my first take was that they managed to capture something that I believe could exist in that universe.
Yes, and Paul, I do agree with you. 100%. There's aliens, and then there's just all this other stuff.
All this other stuff. They've been stabbing in the dark since. So Romulus, at least to me, felt like it existed in the world of Alien, the first one, and the second one to that degree, but that it ultimately wasn't satisfying. But I do want to revisit, and I do want to watch your epic.
And that this is this is from that review, addressing the fact that then it just lifts moments. It's like there's homage and there's Easter eggs, and then there's just settle down. Okay, just tell your own story in your own way, and don't rely so heavily on stuff.
They certainly relied heavily on hauling Ash's corpse back out of the original film.
Hauling Ash,
and the original Alien, which I find, now let that thing float in space for the rest of eternity. And did they ever explain how they found Ash?
Or
they found another model that was the Ash model
Rook in the movie.
Okay,
and so he's just the I guess they used that model as the science officers around that time.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense either, because and forgive me for anybody watching this that I didn't remember that wasn't the actual Ash, which was burned up. They did a Rasputin on him. I think they stabbed him, knocked his head off, poisoned him, threw him in the river, dragged him back out, drowned him again.
Yeah, they did
shot him.
Full Rasputin on Ash.
They finally blow him up with the Nostromo. But they did find an Ash model that, when they reanimated it, kind of was sort of hearkening to how they had reanimated Ash's head in the original film.
Yes.
To answer questions, and he had that kind of voice that was a little bit funky and wobbly, and they were kind of tying to that.
And even used a same line of dialogue.
Oh, was it? I admire. Not I admire its purity, but you have my sympathy or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
It's the can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies.
Yeah, that's dumb. Well, it's dumb because oh well, Paul, if you're we're spoiling all this, so you may not, even though you're our only guest tonight and
Oh, I
rather
see. Yes, you're
coveted.
yes, we agree. Morrow is the actor's excellent, and his character is probably the most interesting of the bunch.
Well, his motivations are interesting. I mean, you could claim that a lot of characters' motivations are at least interesting, but
Sure.
but so far he's been one of the ones where uh yeah, to in contradistinction to Kirsch's character, whose motivations are mysterious, but I don't find it compelling in the same way.
Hmm.
Morrow's are mysterious, but as they unfold, it becomes. I think it helps. Like we're learning more, and it's
Yeah,
elevating
we
it.
got the payoff to that in this one, and I thought that was good. It's like, oh, well, now I understand why he was doing what he was doing. And see, now I'm speaking around it because I don't want to completely spoil it for
I don't
Paul.
want to spoil it for Paul. So, Paul, please be aware that this is a spoiler-heavy uh, uh, talk and discussion. So,
Um,
we'll
yeah,
leave it to you if you want to.
and then so you end up with this Morrow Kirsch standoff with the payoff of that.
There
And
is, although in these sort of scenes, you do wonder what it pays off for us, because I mean it pays off in the sense that they wrote it to pay off.
right.
But you also wonder if things had gone slightly different, did they have a contingency plan for how this was supposed to play out? Like that they were all going to be in this spot at this time, and we're all going to wait and we're going to pounce in that. And
And
what if they
I
went
was
in another door or something?
yeah, no, 100%. And I was a little I was confused because I apparently wasn't paying enough attention. I thought all of the troops were actually Morrow's troops because we'd already seen him arrive with people.
Yes,
And so I thought he had the upper hand. And I'm like, why is Kirsch acting like he's got the upper hand in this scene? This doesn't make any sense. And then I went, oh, okay, wait, those are Kirsch's people.
because they all have the same outfit, whether they're working for Morrow or they're working for Kirsch or whoever, the Cavalier camp. They all are dressed exactly the same. So in a firefight, I would think it would get extremely confusing. If
Right.
it,
They need to do a shirts and skin situation.
they should stop and say, guys, this is, I don't even know which side I'm on. So can we just figure out who's who? And before the fit hits the shan, we can probably either put a symbol on our helmets or
And
something.
could somebody show me how to use this marine rifle? Could somebody stand in behind me and put their arm over me and show me how to use that?
Maybe in an iconic moment where
Yes, because they do that in Romulus, just like they lift that right out of Aliens.
they need to stop lifting stuff. That's when it. I mean, I don't always like the term fan service because I think it gets
Mhm.
too. I think it's used to the point where it's like, well, it's not. Some things that are ascribed to fan services, as they say, are things that are
Fair enough,
merely.
Paul. Fair enough. But yeah, go ahead, Phil. You're saying, yeah, the fan service can.
Well, I think it's misused sometimes, but in these cases, it 100% qualifies as a descriptor for things in Romulus.
Yeah.
That you having a new Ash say an old line from the original film
Right.
does not advance the world of Alien.
Yeah, I think I had to cut a line that it was like at what point does nostalgia become the monster in this movie? You know,
Right.
like,
That's a brilliant. That's brilliant.
I should have kept it in, but
Well,
you know, you got to do what you got to do.
no. You save that show for the next week, and you work
Okay.
that.
Yes.
Actually, maybe that's in space, and nostalgia is the real monster now or something. No one can hear you scream about.
Yeah.
So,
So then we get from that, we go to the retarded standoff on the boat. I'm glad that we're allowed to say things are retarded again in our culture because
thank
that's what
God.
this standoff was at the boat.
By
You
the way,
have
I like the way
100 people standing with 100 guns and nobody's shooting, and then all the stuff starts going down, and
like
everyone's just standing there,
they're just
not
standing
shooting or
there.
doing anything.
No, they're not. And in fact, you wonder what their plan was. Like they're bringing guns to a situation where they can't shoot anybody except theoretically the brother, I guess. But the merchandise
Right.
can't can't be harmed. So what are they doing there? Shouldn't they be bringing like I don't know those things where they there's a rabid dog or something, and they
Or
got
no,
the pole with
how
the
about the net thing that that Morrow used in
Morrow
the first
used to
episode?
grab the little guy, which to me looked like something that little alien could have gotten out of pretty quickly. Um, it didn't seem like it was really all that well sealed to the ground.
No, yeah, that was ridiculous. And but then when they finally, the brother finally shoots his gun at Nibs because she's gone a little hard,
Yeah,
and then
she
it's
went
an
too far.
electricity gun, and I'm like, oh,
Well, didn't they all
oh,
have those?
yeah. So like, does everybody like? Oh, well, they could have been shooting all this time because it's not a fatal gun.
Yeah. Although
But
I'm a little confused. Is Nibs dead because
well,
of
yeah,
the
and so I would think it's not a fatal gun because it's this electricity stun gun. I would
stun
think.
gun? But then it
But
makes me
then
think
Nibs is down, and Wendy is very upset that
Wendy
he
seems to
shot Nibs.
think, yes, Wendy seems to think that she's dead or beyond repair and that her electrical systems are fried. And so her synth body or hybrid body or synth,
Yeah,
I don't know anymore. Their
yeah.
synth body is shot. Now, a different show would have, uh, and who knows, maybe this next episode they'll do this, would have made a point to can we still extract her soul out of this electrical problem body and get her into a new body real quick.
Yeah.
And is that a possibility? I mean, as long as they're doing all these experiments with moving people's consciousness in and out of robot bodies.
Let's get a zombie episode. The hand
Right.
coming out of the ground.
And again, a different sci-fi kind of show might have pulled that off, but then the old body still has nibs in it, and so now you have two nibs.
I see all this coming at 2 Nibs. I see this this will be in season 6. They'll get to the zombie stuff.
They'll be running zombie aliens, like the
Yes.
alien bodies. They're synth alien bodies with the soul of the original alien in them.
Yeah.
So yes, they've done more than one of these awkward standoffs and firefights that don't really play out particularly strongly,
Mhm.
where people are standing around not knowing what to do. Their guns are drawn, they're aimed at something, but they're also told they can't shoot it, and they're all telling everybody to drop their guns. But then, what? I don't know what. How is
Yeah,
this
no, you're
supposed to
right,
play out?
because it's yet another Alien franchise trope of, "We have our guns, but you're not allowed to shoot." And
I
it's
didn't
like,
even
well, you
think
knew
of
what you were
that.
doing. You knew you were going after rogue synths,
Rogue
right?
sense, yes. And
So
so what? Why are you bringing? Okay, I actually had not made that connection. They're that the
the trope.
yes, the trope of
I hadn't either.
well, that's I don't even know. But I don't know that they know that.
They may not. Because it's another one of these scenes where you have all these characters there that the writer doesn't really know what to do with.
Mhm.
It's like when they were doing all the search and rescue stuff. It's like, yeah, there'll be a base of operations, and they go and they do stuff. It's like that's not how
Well,
this works. And like you wouldn't have 10 people there with all their guns, and who's the clear commander? I'm guessing like the woman with the red hair or whatever. But is she given the stand
Cytherean.
down order? Like what are they supposed to be doing at the point that they're not supposed to shoot? She's not giving them any instruction. The
I th
Nibs is going nuts and ripping a guy's face open with her bare hands, and nobody shoots her. Like, why would nobody? Like the whole point. Oh, because we don't want to damage the merchandise. Well, then what are we doing
what are
here?
you doing here? Why are you even that close?
Yeah, just
Maybe let them get out on the boat for a couple of miles and then
yeah,
they then they're contained. Like, sabotage the boat so it can only go to this point, and then like they'll be asking to get off soon.
yeah.
Um,
Let them go, and then as they're leaving, you shoot their engine or whatever. And
right, right. I don't know what their plan was, and how I feel like the things you have to do to coordinate these things. Okay, okay, you 10 people hide behind that big metal box. Three. How many of us should be in the boat ready when the door opens? I don't know. Four, three, five. I don't know, guys. Anyway,
yeah,
don't make a sound. They're gonna walk up. They're gonna get on the boat. That's when, as soon as the door opens, that's when you guys come out. Well, what if we can't hear the door? I don't. You'll hear something. I don't know, but don't look. They might see you, and that might scare them off. I feel like the setup for that is
it's like
just
how they must have had a very complicated cheat sheet written on their arm for the situation. Okay, wait, is the door? Where's the thing? And then
and
then
what
they're
if
all they just stand around. I think that's the last 3 things on their arm. They stand around, stand around. If something happens, stand around more.
just wait, just wait. If somebody pulls your jaw off, sorry, you drew the short straw to be the guy that gets your jaw pulled off.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that not one person saw that and didn't be like, oh crap, I'm shooting. You could have set up there's 2 of those people that the Doc brother knows, so there's at least a little bit of characterization there.
That was
That
probably the
like
better
one
part
of
of the
them could
scene.
be getting his jaw ripped off, so the other one freaks out and shoots, even
Yeah.
though you're not supposed to, because it's like, oh no, it's Jimmy, Ah!
Right. So, and again, did we know the guy who's got his jaw ripped? Have we seen him
No,
before?
I don't
Maybe
think so. I think he's just another.
another guy that shows up in the. I mean, why couldn't it have been one of the 2 people that we already know, and that might have?
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be? I mean, it would be more intense, and there'd be some more reason. I'd have a more visceral reaction to it because it's like, well, we have seen Siberian and Rashidi before. I think these are the 2 people that
Well done, Phil. Well done.
It didn't. I should have had the notes up here so it didn't look like it's so obvious that I was looking at my own cheat sheet. So
Yeah,
that
it's a case of like you shouldn't have characters on the stage in your screenplay that don't have a function outside of we need somebody to be in the scene for this reason. Like you need to, if you keep doing that, all of these random players, they're just props. They're not characters.
They're set dressing.
Yeah, set dressing. Bring in the characters. If you're gonna have 3 different things that need to happen and you have 3 different random characters coming in to do it, make that one character and figure out a thread for that character, why they're in this scene, why they're here, and how their character is developing through these different points of action that they're involved in. Instead, you just pull in the set dressing and all these people are meaningless.
They're meaningless. That's why I wonder, had this been a feature film, if the through line could have been way more solid. You wouldn't have as much room, even you wouldn't have time for these little things that come and go.
Yeah.
So that part's disappointing, but you can always feel it too when an action sequence isn't really working. And this one, that's happened more than once in this show, because I don't think action is this show's forte.
Right. Pronounced
I'm using.
Everyone says forte, but it is fort.
It is forte. I wanted to make sure that I'm glad I didn't have to say it.
Yeah,
I'm going to be one of
that in college, reading the cheat book, An Incomplete Education.
Was that?
Sort of like, oh, here's just basic things you need to know on all these different topics, and one of the things was it's pronounced fort.
It's pronounced fort, but nobody knows that, so you just end up sounding like an idiot. And now,
excuse me, I've got to get going. I'm going to go play Forte Night. Thank you. Good night.
The show ends on right around there. We think Nibs is out of commission, but we don't know if she's dead. I know that Wendy has been mad at Joe, her brother, before. The intensity of it at this moment seems to be the highest yet. But I kind of wonder, now, is it because he shot Nibs and Wendy thinks she's dead, or does Joe know that he shot her with a non-lethal zap that's just going to put her out of commission for a minute? Or
the problem with the zapping, it's ambiguous. It's not clear to us. If you shot her with a nuclear thing and she turned into a shadow and fell into dust, we'd know what that meant. But zapping her with the electricity is kind of ambiguous, because to you and I, it read as, oh, okay, it's a non-lethal weapon.
Yeah.
Nibs is down, but she was already shot because somebody had shot her, and she was getting the white blood coming
Yeah,
out.
we saw the android blood seeping.
So I would think that Joe actually de-escalated the situation.
Yeah,
So they would stop shooting her. He basically used a stun gun on her.
a stun gun, and that's how I was reading it. But then Wendy's
Taser.
reaction,
But then her reaction's over the top. It's clear that they're trying to do this arc with her, that she's detaching from humanity. So she's becoming more because she's getting a more of a relationship with the aliens.
Yes.
And we've now just seen her go through the graveyard, and her body's dead there. In the previous episode, we had her do the break from the doctor, who's the mother character. So like I can see these signposts that they've set up. It's just the problem is that, as we were talking about with the sandbox storytelling, it's all very isolated, and it doesn't really I don't feel the momentum going through from scene to scene, because the stuff that happens in the scenes are so scene specific and almost random compared to, they're just not developing the characters well.
I was about to ask if you think we have too many threads, but I don't know that we have so many. It's not a number of threads. It's that the threads don't feel like threads. They feel like pieces of string that are sort of detached from each other and kind of.
It's not that we're spread too thin. It's just that the characterization is thin. So I'd probably cut a few of these pointless characters, as I was saying earlier, rather than having 3 random characters come into 3 different scenes to do 3 different things. Make that one character and build it. So like I do that kind of stuff with it.
Sure.
But there's so much padding in these episodes. There's plenty of room to actually develop all of the threads they have.
Yeah.
And if they're not going to develop them, they should cut them. But they don't seem to really understand character-driven story and how to make their characters complex. And it's weird because the guy Noah Hawley, or what's his name?
Yeah.
He's a seasoned professional.
Sure.
And and I've worked on things where I've kind of stumbled my way through it, and at the end I'm like, oh, okay, well, I kind of managed to MacGyver that thing together.
Yeah.
But you'd just like to think that, and he clearly has some ideas, some big ideas that he wants to explore here. But I just feel like he just doesn't have the chops to tell the kind of story he wants to tell, or it's not clear in his head how to use these things to develop the ideas. So it just ends up feeling like somebody who's, I'm doing my big important story now, and it's real big and important. And you go, oh, really? Why? What's it? Because it's important. Well, why is it important? Because it's really big. And you go, well, why is it big? Because it's important.
It's important. It's just circling the drain.
Yes.
Well, I think
circling the narrative drain.
But that all makes absolute sense, and it's a legitimate take on this show and its issues. And the other thing is that I keep coming back to in my head is, and we're near the last episode of the season. So I don't know. I don't think anything's going to be particularly resolved, but there isn't a whole lot that I feel like is driving for resolution here.
No.
Raylan Yutani, Kirsch has thwarted Yutani's attempt to get an alien.
Yeah.
But what the characters want, Wendy and her brother wanted to get off the island. Okay, now they can't, and they probably won't. She's got a relationship with an alien that's her own personal bodyguard now.
Yeah.
But by the end of next episode, what do you think is going to be the big cliffhanger?
So what's going to happen in the next episode? You make a good point. They've kind of wrapped some of this stuff up, and even like, oh, they wanted to escape the island, but they can't. I don't feel a big like, oh no, and now the next obvious thing is, but the one obvious thing that they're going to do is Boy Cavalier wants to put that eyeball into her brother. I think that is the guy that he wants to put the eyeball in. So that will be a threat.
not a random person that just comes in for that episode.
I know, shocking. So, but would they do that?
Or would they do it with? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that they would do it with Joe, because then there's a reason to have the lead experimental synth child and a brother with an alien eye, and they start a band and tour.
I mean, is there anything to the idea of him putting the eyeball into a synth? Part of me wonders if that makes more sense. But
yeah, but
I don't
story wise,
that.
Yeah, it might have made more sense in another show, I guess. In this one, the brother seems like a prime candidate. Although I have to admit, after Boy Cavalier mentioned that, I'm like, okay, now he wants to put the eyeball on a person. And then by the time we were on to the next scenes, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, and so will it be the eyeballs and the brother, and then so he's gonna have to die from that, but maybe they'll put his consciousness into a synth to save him after we get some time with the eyeball in it, or will he just be eyeball guy?
That's a bolder show in a way. I mean, that's a show that's taking more risks than this one's taking.
It seems to be. But then, and like, what's the payoff with her and her alien pet in this final episode?
None. I think, in fact, did they end on the moment where like she was calling the alien to come help? And
she almost did, but he stopped her. And then after he shot Nibs, we just saw that the alien was watching. Presumably, it was the alien. We just see through the foliage. But yeah, I don't. We've it's clearly established that the alien is a loyal pet for her, essentially.
Yeah.
So now what? How does that develop? I mean, I think the development would be that loyalty is tested or broken, but I don't see or understand how that would come to pass.
Well, I guess that's
will. So are they going to put the eyeball in Joe and then she pulls in the alien to try to stop him? I mean, but we've already seen her call in the alien to do stuff, so that would be boring.
Well, I wouldn't put it past them to revisit because
does Boy Cavalier make it to the end? Season 1, yes. Does Adam? Yes. Maybe not.
Maybe he sacrificed just to let us know that they're willing to kill off some secondary characters.
At first, I thought Boy was gonna just open the thing and have it go into Adam when they were just talking about.
I did when you were saying about Joe. I thought, well, who else? And I thought, well, maybe Adam, but he would be an unwilling recipient of it. But Boy Cavalier might not care.
But you could see that big dude with the bald head and then the eye.
Sure. I don't know who else except for a no name, but they're not going to bring in a new character, and it's not going to be one of the synth kids, because as far as experiments go, even though we don't know what they're actually doing with any of these kids, it doesn't make sense to put it into a synth body, because first of all, is that eye going to connect with a synthetic body?
And it would be stupid for him to put the eye in Babadook, the doctor.
No, because she presumably is too important of a character on the team.
Yeah. Because otherwise there'd only be one person, 2 people left to do their sciencing on the clipboards.
What if they somehow, through their technology and their medical advancements, they could bring Arthur back only to put that eye in him? It's like he ends up being just the most abused character in the show.
Yeah, he's sort of like the Kenny.
Yes, every time.
And the Bernie.
Weekend at Kenny Bernie's.
Weekend at Arthur's.
Oh, I feel bad for him, because he was one of the only likable people in this scenario, in this complex.
Yeah.
And lucky for him, he wasn't sciencing when she unleashed the alien.
Yeah.
It was
a good.
He was already dead. He was lucky he got fired and then killed, because he would have been a goner with the rest of the crew. Or Dame Sylvia could have been in the lab. Anybody could have been in the lab when she unleashed it.
Well, and then again, we go back to this Dame Sylvia and her husband Arthur, who never had a conversation about him being fired. And then like we see her, she's just like looking at photos of him. Like that's our way of knowing, oh yeah, she loves him and she feels bad that, you know, he's gone. They haven't
Yeah.
officially divorced or anything. So like
No.
it's just stupid. It's just dumb. They didn't have any like normal human being conversations to address normal human being. Like, why even have them be married? Why? If you're not even going to use that relationship to reflect what's happening around them, it's the relationship is as empty and pointless as most of the characters are.
In fact, it might have been more interesting had they not been married, but there was tension, like their relationship was maybe moving in that direction before he gets fired, and now it's like, well, that's a whole dynamic that just got shifted, and are they still going to try to make it work? But now they're not really like,
Yeah.
again, different, probably not any better, but why to your point that there's no reason
better.
Either way, that them being married didn't really play into it because they killed the character off.
No, and then when he like, okay, I get it, he's disoriented because that's what happens when you get face hugged. But then it's like, oh, well, then he wakes up and again, he's not thinking about her. Like it's just another scene with a character where they've been completely removed from
Yes,
everything that they've done in the series, and now it's just like a completely isolated.
they're in a bubble. These
They're in a
characters are
bubble.
in
It's
these
like this
moving
could have
bubbles.
just as easily been any other character in this scene.
Sure. Did
It
he?
could
I
have
don't.
been just a random person they pulled out, and they were the one who got their face hugged.
And so, like, he's got these kids that he knows are lying about something, but
At least he knew.
at least
I
yes,
was relieved when he actually acknowledged how ridiculous they were behaving. But go ahead.
right. No, and that was one of the highlights of that little scenario. But again, these things are sort of like, it's one of these good little things within a bubble that doesn't really necessarily fit very
Right.
well in. Did he? I don't. When he did wake up and didn't know what happened, did he remember that he was fired and that he was married and that? You'd think it was like, well, last thing I remember was, oh, getting fired, and my wife doesn't seem to care. What the hell am I doing out here?
I mean, where's he going? He
He's
lives on the island. And right, they've lived there for how long? Like, does he have an apartment in the city? Like, do they have a house in the city that they're hanging on to while they're, out doing this extended work
right.
assignment?
I mean, that would have been in the scene that didn't happen, which
Yeah.
might have happened in the minds of somebody on the staff, but it never made it to. It never was executed, or
It's an opportunity for drama. They could have had some drama.
well, there could have been like him packing and her, like he and his wife having that conversation as he's packing, going, well, look, I can't stay. We've been on this project for presumably several years. I guess I'm going to.
Are you referring to what happened in the episode or us right now on this live? Because I feel like we've been doing it for years.
Right.
Go ahead. So you're saying,
well, it's just that would have been, again, an opportunity for characters to exist in their own reality in a way that's believable and relatable.
I think that one of the things he does is the Noah.
Oh
He's
no, yeah.
very minimalist in what he gives to convey something. So I think in his mind it was very clear that when Boy Cavalier was sort of pitting the Dame Sylvia and her husband off of each other,
Yeah.
that that they were getting pushed. Well, actually, it wasn't Boy; it was Adam or whatever.
Yeah.
The fact that he says no and
Mhm.
she says she'll do it,
Right.
and then he says, "Oh, can you do this?" So she says, "Yeah, I can do it." So in that moment, that was supposed to tell us their relationship had split because she was not supporting him in that moment, and so she was doing her own thing. And so we didn't have to have a scene where they talk about it because it's all implicit. And so
Right.
now we move on to the next thing, and so now she's looking at pictures because the relationship's over. I think that's what it is. I think he's just so minimalist that he thinks this stuff is enough to read.
And maybe he thinks he doesn't need that scene because it's spoon feeding us stuff that we should be able to glean ourselves from these characters.
Mhm.
Maybe he's worked on shows where he was asked to write scenes that he thought were like just re-explaining it again and again.
Yeah.
And now he feels like he can push the pendulum in the other direction where we, the audience, are smart enough to fill in those blanks. But I'm not, I guess. I'm not smart enough to fill in those blanks.
Yeah, it's almost like the interactions are symbolic. And that's
sure.
supposed to carry all of the emotional, but by not addressing it in ways that normal people would, by not addressing the concerns that normal people have. We, the audience, are normal people. We would like these things addressed. By not doing that, these characters don't feel like real people. We can't connect and engage to them, so we don't really care what's happening to them because they're not people to us.
We only do in those moment-to-moment things, though. I think, like, at any given moment, like, when Arthur is talking to the kids and saying, look, I can tell you're lying. It's lying something we do when we're kids. He's a fatherly figure in that moment, or a big brother or whatever.
Moment.
So in those moments, that's when I'm responding. Like, I respond to that. I get a little, there's a peak in my interest in those characters, but then it doesn't fit in with the larger scope very well. So it's a series of, let's say there's 3 or 4 of those little moments in this episode. It's not enough to support my emotional attachment to anything else that's happening with these characters.
And now they've done that to us for 7 episodes, Phil.
They have, and I it'll be funny if we decide to come back and do this on the second season, because it's like, it would be nice to maybe it's not as entertaining to talk about a great show, although it can be.
Sure.
But it's almost
easier to talk about a crappy show.
It is, because it's way easier to point out flaws. And to the degree that I have any ideas on what could have been done, Monday morning quarterbacking, I don't know what I would have done with the franchise like this had it been dropped in my lap. I don't think I'd be doing any better. And I probably would have relied on all the same tropes.
Doing something better.
No, it would be different. I don't think I would have.
Well, because if you did
done
this, there'd be puppets in it.
For sure, there'd be puppets. One nice thing about Alien 3 is they did attempt puppetry with the alien. It was an actual rod puppet.
Well,
it doesn't look great. I think when you look at the behind the scenes of them trying to work it, you're like, you know what? That's actually a pretty cool, legit approach to how you'd handle full body shots of an alien that don't just look like a guy in a suit and that aren't CGI, even though I believe later, by the end of the movie, I think there is a CGI shot of the alien.
Oh, there's a couple. But I was going to say what you're saying with the puppet thing. It's an interesting approach, and I'm picturing that they're doing like a marionette, and it's like doing that marionette thing.
It looks like the Thunderbirds walking down Team America alien.
And then there's like just the mouth part where they cut out the mouth, and then they have the other little mouth, and then another one.
But it's like Clutch Cargo, where they're just superimposing a guy.
Yeah, I'm glad we got there's actually 3 people here, and I'm glad they showed up just for that moment, because we're having fun. Hey, everybody, say hi. What do you think? How are they going to pull this out in the last episode? Are they going to pull it out, or is it going to suck?
Are you of the opinion, as I think we are, they're just going to try to give us a cliffhanger style into this?
So what do you think, Chad? Or also, you could tell us what you think the best Alien sequel is, other than Aliens, because there's Alien, there's Aliens, and then there's the rest of the stuff in the franchise. What do you think is the best of the
best of the rest? it's impossible to. The problem with this is that we can't look at these fresh. Any of the sequels, we've watched them for 30, 40 years.
Yes.
Some of us a little longer than others. But
Mhm.
so we as viewers are changing with the times as well. So these things are always in a context. So I will always hate Alien 3 because I think it might have ruined a potential relationship because we didn't go see Far and Away, which I think might have blossomed a potential relationship. Instead, we went to see Alien 3, and that relationship kind of plateaued, and we never really.
And so
Anyway,
there was Fist of Rage, and then
oh,
Son of Fist
son
of
of Fist of
Rage.
Pleasure, which was Alien 4 when I took another woman. No, I never learned not to take dates to alien
The
movies.
Alien
Why did
movies.
I thought it would get her all scared and cuddle up next to me, and instead she's just over there rolling her eyes, going, "What the hell?"
How fast can I break up with this loser?
Pretty fast because we never really broke in to break.
So
So
yeah, so the franchise has got that curse as well.
we can't watch like if we were to have our memories erased and we were to sit down and watch. God, how many movies is it now? 7?
Oh yeah, I mean this. You got Alien 3, Alien 4, and then Prometheus.
Prometheus, Covenant, Romulus.
Okay, 5,
Like
and
that's
then this
well,
is the
that.
6th thing.
Well, no,
We're
that's
not even
just.
counting the video games.
Well,
Apparently, Alien Isolation is supposed to be pretty good. That's a recent one.
the game.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's terrifying. I won't play it. It's way scarier than any of the movies have been since probably the. Well,
I remember playing the Alien versus Predator game.
oh
And,
yeah. Could you
yeah.
play as either, or did you have to be the Predator?
We were at a guy's house, and he had a big LAN set up in his room.
Yeah.
Or like he had a giant room with all the LAN stuff. You may remember the guy, and
Oh, I do. Yeah, out in
and
Valencia.
and so we were all playing the Marines, and
Right.
then he and his buddy, they were both in the other room, and they were playing as the aliens. And so there were 2 aliens, and we were all Marines, and it was all at dark, and it was Halloween time, and
Brian,
it was pretty scary.
were they dressed as furries by any chance?
They
All right.
I don't know
Well,
if they were at the time, but they had a whole room full of that stuff.
not naming names, but yeah, I've been out there, and I too live to tell the tale. The TAIL tale, because it's
in this case, yes.
furry reference. And I never played that game though. But I do think that the Alien games do have a reputation of being pretty good, and what I've seen on some of those do look utterly terrifying. I don't think I could play them alone in the dark.
Yeah, it would be intense.
It'd be intense. So I'll probably, and I don't play games that much. I think I probably clocked more time on solitaire.
Right.
No, but the games do seem to succeed. Should do a show sometime on games that were great based on movies that sucked.
It sucks because usually it's games that sucked based on movies that were great.
Oh, they did a whole documentary on the ET Atari game that
Yeah, for example,
which they did finally dig up 100,000 cartridges that were buried in New Mexico.
Wow.
After not selling because they it sucks so bad. I do feel bad for the guy that had to make it in 5 weeks though.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? And then
and everyone's waiting for the big thing, and it's just gonna suck. I mean, it's gonna suck because it's Atari 2600 anyway.
Right, but we didn't know any better. We were young, stupid kids playing with things that looked like they were made out of 3 boxes stuck together.
We sure were.
It wasn't even 1 bit. It was a half a bit game.
The other thing I was going to say about Alien is we're talking about the video games being scary and everything, is that the Alien was always like just terrifying. I think from the very beginning of and particularly back then in the 70s and then in the 80s when I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it because I was too young. Yes, folks, I am old, but not that old.
Not that old.
But it was because it was at a time when I guess you'd see it on VHS or whatever, but we weren't like going back.
You are old again.
Watching all the suddenly, oh no, I am old after all. But it was just like it was terrifying. We hadn't really seen anything like that. The way it was developed and revealed, and that whole H.R. Giger design was so otherworldly and in a sort of demonic, disturbing way. It was just, the whole thing was unsettling. And even now, as an adult, I still feel that thread. Like, just even looking at it for too long would always make me like, I don't want to, like, it was just, it really felt like evil incarnate. It just felt like death and evil incarnate.
Right.
And that's the one thing that's lost with all of this stuff that's getting done, is that it's not that anymore. Now it's this product, and now it's doing the thing that it does. And it's like, no,
it's almost a brand at this point.
Yeah, it's like a brand, and it's but at its soul, and I think that's why it does
now
resonate
it's been
for so many years.
Now that they've done this show, it's been somewhat domesticated, which takes all of that and just wipes it clean. It wipes away anything that was otherworldly and terrifying. And what I always liked about the original Alien, among many and many, many other things, was there was a sense of mystery about these things, that there was an unknowable quality to it, to what that derelict ship was doing. And people would theorize about it. They would talk about, like, oh, well, it was carrying these eggs. It was a bioweapon. They crashed. One of them got loose and killed this thing, but you don't quite know how that creature worked. They sort of form out of that chair. And then every chance they get now, they completely ruin the mystery of that. Well, now I guess it's just some stupid engineer that looks like a big white guy that is dressed in that outfit, and that's what that space jockey was.
Now, what I was going to say about this and the other shot is that it's kind of like, there's the iconic shot that you always get.
Yeah.
And this is sort of turning on that, because this is the first time we've seen it domesticated, where the woman in front of the alien isn't terrified.
No.
And so on the one hand, I go, okay, well, this is new territory.
Sure.
We haven't seen this before. So, hey, at least you're not doing the same thing again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. See, there's Romulus and Alien 3.
Yeah.
And then, and then we get this. So it's at least an evolution is different, but it's like, is this really what we want?
Right. And I would say, even seeing it outside in the sunlight is sort of takes away a certain level of, now it just seems it's certainly not scary. The alien is not scary in this show.
No.
And the mystery of how these things, where they came from, what their purpose is, I always kind of enjoyed that it's unknowable. I think that was the Lovecraftian side of it in play, which is the terror of the unknown, and that the cosmos is so big and things out there are so unusual for our feeble little human minds that we'll never really completely understand it. But every time they put out a new movie or a new show, it's like, well, now they seem to think they do understand everything about it, and it's just not that interesting anymore, and it's completely knowable, and it's lost all of its power.
Well, it used to be, in a word, alien. It was apart from us. It was alien. It was very, and it definitely felt that way. There's another. I like how I wait until, we're basically in the after show of the after show at this point.
Right.
And now I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, here's some photos, and let's talk about but.
I would call it the afterglow. Right, yeah. Is this Babadook and Boy Cavalier?
Yeah. And what my first thought was the way her hair looks. It kind of reminds me of the alien, how it's got the longer, the back of the head there.
It's as if the alien mated with the Bride of Frankenstein.
And then I saw the Bride of Frankenstein connection, and I thought, well, there's got to be something to one or both of these references.
That's not an accident. You don't do somebody's hair like that and not think that you're at least paying homage in a visual motif of both the alien and its head shape. It's very, very sexy head shape. And the Bride of Frankenstein, which is like one of the more iconic hairstyles in cinema history.
I don't know why it would be a Bride of Frankenstein reference outside of the fact that it just looks like visually that's iconic. But as far as like her character, how she fits into the thing, like thematically, I don't feel
her
like there's any
character
connection, but just visually it's there.
Well, the connection might be that they're playing God, in the way that Frankenstein is about playing God and bringing people back to life.
Yeah, okay, I could get that. But the bride herself was one of the creatures brought back to life rather than.
You'd think that they would have played with Wendy and her hairstyle that way.
Maybe that would have been too on the nose. And the one thing this show cannot tolerate is being too on the nose.
No, there's subtlety in reference to Peter Pan and other things owned by Disney/Fox. It is so subtle sometimes. It barely an undercurrent. It's
really I have to spend hours online digging through the Easter egg forums just to find out
what did that even mean. That there was that thing on the desk in the background of that one scene. Something, there was a book. What was it? Oh, well, if you read a certain page from that book, you'll read something about Peter Pan. No, they're just gonna watch it. They're just gonna watch it and name each other the characters from.
See, the other thing is, I would think that by the end of season 1, you would have killed a bunch of characters that are meaningful, or at least one character that's meaningful. So maybe that's coming. I don't know.
By the way, did we already discuss this, or am I just thinking about it now that Morrow is Captain Hook because he keeps changing out that thing he does on his.
Yeah, well, we did touch on that.
We did touch on that.
Which is, but I'm glad you brought that up, because I was actually thinking about that as I was saying killing a character. If he's Captain Hook and the alien's the crocodile, then theoretically the alien's going to have to kill Morrow at some point. And while that does feel inevitable for that character, do you really want to do that at the end of season 1 if you're planning on going for another season or two and he's really one of the more interesting characters? I guess he's a cyborg, so. Okay, so then you could kill him and then make him a synth. Just
to complete his arc as being partially cybernetic and then moving into and they did. I mean, the whole beginning, the very first thing they show us in the show is the explanation of the 3 types of human artificial
augmented human, or I guess a synth isn't an augmented human. It's just but yes, they gave us the 3.
They gave us the 3.
Here. And speaking of 3 categories, I see we have 3 viewers at the moment.
Holy S!
Yes,
well, that has to be a record.
All at once too. That's great.
Unbelievable.
So there's your little welcome there, folks. You should now that you're here, you shouldn't be timid. You should jump into the chat, say hi. You should let us know if you think they're going to make this next episode. If they're going to pull it out, are we going to get a satisfying climax, or is it going to be just another fizzle? We're also asking the chat. This is very important. We would like to know. There's Alien. There's Aliens. And then there's the rest.
Everything else.
What's the best of the rest?
The best of the rest.
I don't think it's this show, but you might disagree. Why don't you just hop into the chat there and let us know?
I have to assume that because there's enough people on Earth that you would have some people out there who would choose ones that I would not have ever thought, and their reasons might be very unique. Somebody out there loves Alien 4. That's the only one they like. They don't really like. They think the first one's too slow. The second one's just an action film.
That's a good point.
The third one's got too many dudes, but they love Winona Ryder, and so they love Alien 4.
That third movie's got going for it is that. Welcome, chat. This is the we have a running thing here where we don't know the name of an actor, and so now we're going to revisit that. The guy who plays the doctor in it, the crazy scientist doctor who's in the Lord of the Rings and he's in Deadwood, and he's just a fantastic character actor.
Wait a second. What are we talking about?
We're talking about in that's in Alien 4.
Alien 4.
Yes.
Wait, Alien 4. Oh, I know who he is. Are we asking the chat this?
Oh, I'm asking anybody. What's that guy's name?
Brad Dourif.
Brad Dourif, that is correct.
Now,
Ding, ding, ding. Where's my bell?
yeah, I love Brad Dourif. He's an interesting character actor, and he's been doing it for a lot longer than you think. The first thing that I was aware of him in which I was aware of him, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1976.
Wow, yes, you're right.
He played the well, he had to play a young guy because he was probably pretty young. And that's the first role I'm aware of. And now we could go IMDb it and figure it out. But he's also one of the few actors that I've seen play almost the same character, both in a movie and a television show, that were so specific that you wonder if he was getting typecast and question this.
Right.
He was in the third Exorcist movie.
Wow. Okay.
And he was also in an episode of The X-Files where he played almost the exact same kind of character. A person, I think, I don't remember the X-Files episode as much, but I remember seeing it and thinking, wow, he's just playing the same guy he was in.
I could 100% guarantee that they cast him because they're thinking, oh yeah, and we'll cast Brad Dourif, and he can do that role that he did. Yeah, we can play like that, you know.
Because in it, Exorcist 3 is a really, it had, I don't think it's a great movie. Surely better than Exorcist 2, which is notoriously awful, directed by John Borman, who's a great director, I think, of Excalibur and
oh yeah, sure,
Deliverance fame. So after Deliverance and Zardoz, where Sean Connery's running around in a weird red bikini, he does Exorcist 2, The Heretic, with Richard Burton, of all people.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be awful. I've never seen it, but it's supposed to be just terrible, because it's doing what these franchises do, which is you get one great movie. All right, The Exorcist, great movie, I think, whatever. You want to do a sequel. Well, my first take on it would be, somebody you least suspect in another scenario is possessed, and maybe because it's going to be a possession, you have to call in an exorcist, but it's going to be a different scenario. No, they decide they have to get Linda Blair back again and have her be repossessed.
Right.
like that rental furniture that you couldn't make the payments on.
It gets repossessed.
That couch that you just couldn't come up with the cash for.
Even Ghostbusters 2 didn't possess Sigourney Weaver a second time.
No, they didn't. And they had other problems, but they didn't.
But that's a different rabbit hole.
Different rabbit hole. And I'm too busy on this rabbit hole, which has nothing to do. But Brad Dourif was in Alien 4. And did not play the same character he was in the Exorcist 3 or that episode of the X-Files. I believe he was a guy. He played a guy who in the Exorcist 3 he's in a padded cell because he's possibly possessed and has knowledge of whatever, and he's been committing crimes, and he's got the devil in him. But he knows things that he couldn't possibly know if he was just a guy in a cell. And in the X-Files, it's the same thing.
Okay.
How could he possibly know about these strange goings on? But it turns out he does, because of whatever, I don't know. But either way, great actor, and played Grima Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings. So very versatile. And he played a mentat, Piter, in David Lynch's version of Dune.
Oh, okay, yes.
And I always liked him in that because he's an interesting. I mean, everybody's weird in that movie, right? I love David Lynch's Dune. I love the new one a lot too, but David Lynch's Dune,
real personality. And Lynch.
There's such a fever dream quality to David Lynch's version. It's a sci-fi art film.
It's like you're taking the spice as you're watching the movie, and it's having the effect.
I think maybe more people would have enjoyed the film more had they had some. They would have related to it with some spice addiction.
Hmm.
They could watch it through their blue eyes. Um, but he's quite interesting in that because he plays such an oddball character, and
Yeah.
Lynch brings that out of people.
Well, and he's fantastic in Deadwood as the Doctor too.
I don't remember him in Deadwood as the Doctor. You
Oh
mentioned
wait,
Deadwood, and
yeah, he's the Doctor. I was going to say, or is he the does he own the inn?
no, that's Swear Engine, right?
No. Yeah, but
No,
there's a guy who oh shoot. Anyway,
Res-
it's been too
res-
long, but he's fantastic in Deadwood, whatever the hell he's doing.
now that you're saying it, it is formulating a memory for me that he was in it. But that's a pretty large, and so
Well, and
was
he was also, you're probably
Timothy
thinking of,
Oliphant.
you're
We've got
probably,
another alien connection. Timothy Oliphant in Deadwood and Brad
yes.
Dourif in the Alien 4.
But you might have
Wow.
been confused. You might have been thinking I was talking Deadwood, you're thinking Western. So you thought I was referring to the Magnificent Seven TV series that he was in 1999. I'm on his IMDb page, and I got to tell you,
Are you kidding me?
you scroll and you scroll and you scroll, and this page just keeps going. He's got to be one of the workingest actors ever. He's got
He's got a
175 credits
well,
here.
I mean, I'm thinking like he's neck and neck with Clint Howard somehow. there's there's got to be some running thing where like we make a bet right now who's got more credits, Clint Howard or Brad Dourif. Yeah, well, look, he's got a day rate. He's probably going to be in Atlanta for some autograph signing. Maybe I can get him in some project for
There you go.
I can slip him a couple of bills and some 2-for-1 coupons for the Waffle House.
There you go. There you go. Tell him I loved you in Deadwood as the Doctor and/or innkeeper. He's the Doctor. He's Doc Cochran, and the innkeeper is the guy who is from the Newhart. My brother Daryl is my other brother
Yeah,
Daryl. That's
right.
the innkeeper guy,
Wait a second.
if I'm
And
not
that's
mistaken.
a Blade Runner reference. So we're tying it back into
Oh, we're getting it back to Ridley Scott and the aliens, the connections.
what is
It's
that meme of that guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's got a cigarette and there's all the red
all the strings.
all
And
the strings. I love that meme so much. And I finally I think I saw the episode or at least the scene it was from and that funny is show. That funny is show. That would be the name of my sitcom. Is that funny is show? But yeah, the connections. There's got to be. It's probably only 4 degrees of separation with Brad Dourif if you're going to play that game.
Yeah. I think the game I'm going to play with our next episode, though, is I think I will formally end the Alien Earth, and then I'll just say it's the after show, and I'll have a card for the Alien Earth after show, after show, where it's like, oh, we're done talking about that. Now we're just talking.
The post-mortem or whatever.
Yeah. Ironically, we get more viewers
not talking about
when we're talking about that miserable show.
You know,
I know it's great. It's great.
But wait a second. I do want to keep the complimentary sandwich. I still think.
Okay, yeah. Let's end on a good note.
On a good note, I like our lead actress.
The acting, actually, across the board, the acting is really solid.
It's solid. I've never had an issue with performance on anybody. Casting maybe, but not performance. And in that one picture you had up a minute ago of her talking with the alien, all I could think was she's going to be a Vulcan if she hasn't already been, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, totally. You just get some ears on her there.
You could Photoshop some ears real quick, and it could be like her logically communicating with the alien, doing a mind meld.
There's a mind meld happening right there. I feel it. It's coming together.
She looks so much like a Vulcan here with that haircut.
So yeah, agreed.
But I like her. I feel like we might have lost. They've danced around that they're all still kids to a certain degree, but I also I worry more that they would lean too far into that because then it starts to become very actorly. If they're all going to be doing their best to be a 12-year-old, and I think they've walked a pretty interesting line on letting me forget that for a little bit while we're in the context of it, and then getting a subtle reminder every now and again through the plot or through whatever is happening that they are still young minds in older bodies.
So acting, we're ending on our good bits here.
Our general art direction's fine. And we haven't seen an alien in a tropical setting before, as far as I know. So that would be fairly new.
Yes, and during the daylight. And
during the, yes.
With that little drink with the umbrellas, I thought that was pretty she for the alien. But the little paper umbrella and the fruit hanging on the side.
Who knew that the aliens would be interested in that kind of drink caddy?
Oh, yeah, like it'd be great because it's in the pineapple, right? And he's like holding it, and then it's that inner mouth goes and grabs the cherry and then pulls it back in.
Good stuff. So acting, general art direction, cinematography is fine. I don't think there's ever been anything offensively bad about it. I do still think everything looks a little clean and a little too videoing. And occasionally I do feel the budget. If only in that
in the lack of human beings on the island and lack of infrastructure in the buildings, and
to a certain degree, yes. And like that boat, they get on a little boat, and it's clearly a current boat that they've redressed to look sort of like a sci-fi future boat, I guess, to some degree, but not much, but just a little. And now I can't decide if I think they should have made it an antique boat, as if this boy Cavalier likes really old stuff.
Yeah.
Or if they should have, because not much happens on the boat, if it could have been some kind of a
they were going to do a fancier boat, Bill.
Yeah.
But they ended up blowing the budget on the raft.
The bamboo raft. Somebody had to put that thing together.
You raft.
Oh,
but this is the good stuff. We're ending on a positive note. We're going to get out of here. So.
Yes.
Any final positives?
I am at least curious at this point how they end the season, because we've been with it now, and I think we have to just play it out. It's only one more episode, and if there is a season 2, I might suggest we find another show to talk about, or any given movie if you want to chat about.
Well, what was was it the Buckrod? No.
Flash Gordon was what I was.
Gordon. Yes. You wanted to do a Flash Gordon.
I do want to do a deep dive on Flash Gordon, because that's ingrained in my memory as a youth. And we can go into more on that.
I think Gordon sessions. I think that'd be great, because I've been trying to come up with ideas for things that will get fewer views than our Alien Earth live series. And I think going back into the 80s, Flash Gordon, that could be it. I'm interested to see how that goes.
I think you underestimate the power of retro viewing habits of today's.
Maybe we'll be able to actually get Retro Rewind TV to join us on that one.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, that could be a thing. Maybe.
Is it on? Is that's another? I don't want to advertise another channel on your channel.
No, that's fine. I don't know why we're plugging his stuff when he's not even here, but yeah.
He wait,
joined us on that last.
That's
one.
Right. I'm sorry. I do know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So he almost joined us on that. Maybe we'll get him out for something along those lines.
I would.
Maybe not. Maybe it's just us hanging out. That's fine too.
I like it, but we can always bring in. And I have some suggestions. We can talk about offline for other people that might want to join us for any given Flash Gordon talk, or
sure,
or whatever we end up going with, Flash Gordon,
or whatever obscure. Uninteresting.
There's a movie I'd like to
that we want to hit.
I want to do a 10-part series on the paint drawing trilogy that was done, and I think it was during a Polish set of films back in
it sounds
the Cold War. It's in black and white, but it's still all about the colors of the paint drawing.
Well, I'll say the one final positive thing I'm going to say about Alien Earth, I'm going to also say about this live stream.
Yes.
One of the best things is it's over.
It's almost sorry.
The episode ended, and so we're ending this one as well.
All right. Well, good to
Phil,
see you
thank
again,
you
my friend.
again for joining me here. I
always
did.
a pleasure, always a joy, and I look forward to our next rendezvous.
Phil's Go Puppets Go link is in the chat there. If you want to go find that, it's YouTube channel Go Puppets Go.
Yeah, lots of fun.
You guys can all well, you're already here at Everything Is Mid. Check out the stuff I got going. Again, I promise you that Romulus review is coming out. I'm pretty excited about it.
So am
If
I.
you're into deep dives, this is a good one. All right, so
Sounds great.
Out.
I'll see you later.
See you, man. Oh, and to my viewers, stay savvy.